Christy Arnett here with Isaac Barron, and we're here to talk strategy. Ready for this?
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready to go.
Okay, well, the topic at hand today is playing vulnerable hands. So, and when I say vulnerable hands, I just mean, like, let's talk specifically about one situation. So you're playing in a cash game, and you limp in and you flop bottom two pair on maybe like a king deuce three board or something, and I don't know, you're in there with deuce three suited. So what do you do when you flop bottom two pair in a limped pot? Do you play it pretty fast or?
Well, yeah, I usually like to try and bet, and it's just a way of building the pot versus like worse hands, and then maybe if I get raised, then kind of slow down a little bit, because depending on the player, he might just have a king, or he might have like a set or something, and just depending on who it is, sometimes I'll play it fast. Like if I feel comfortable getting all in, then and I get raised, then I'll re-raise. But for like a tighter, more conservative player, I'd probably just call and then like play cautiously from there.
Okay, so if you did get raised against an aggressive player, like you said, and you wouldn't mind getting it all in on the flop, because do you ever want to see just maybe another card to see if because if you get counterfeited or something, a king comes and
right. Well, it depends a lot on stack sizes. Like if we're really deep stacked, I'm definitely, even versus a very aggressive player, I don't want to get it all in with bottom two pair, in a limp pot. But like if it's like more like deeper in a tournament or something, and the stacks are more shallow, and like I think you could just have a king, I'd rather just get the money all in right there on the flop.
Okay.
So it kind of depends on stack sizes.
Okay. Yeah, well, let's talk about tournaments. When you play these vulnerable hands, nowadays it seems like a lot of players are, it doesn't seem like, it's pretty obvious that players are playing more hands, especially the suited connectors.
Right.
So when they hit like a low flush, like let's say you raise in late position with 7-8 suited, and you flop a flush, with like maybe a king on the board.
Okay.
And then two cards under that. So like if another of your suit comes, then you probably don't have the best hand anymore.
Right.
Since you're taking the initiative pre-flopping aggressive, would you continue that on the flop?
Yeah, I would definitely. Anytime I flop a flush and I'm the original raiser, I'm pretty much always going to continue. Just because you want to build a pot, you're almost always going to have the best hand, and you just want to. You don't really want to check, like you said, maybe he has a high heart but not two hearts in his hand, give him a free card to make a higher flush. You definitely want to try and build the pot up right there, make him pay to draw to a better hand, and then also make him pay if he wants to call you down, like with like a top pair or something like that. Make him pay all three streets so you can get the most value out of your hand, for sure.
Okay, what about in a multi-way pot in a tournament, if there's a lot of players in? Are you still...
Well, then it might depend. I'm still usually, like, if it's more of a... If I'm the original raiser and it checks to me and I flop a flush, I'm still always going to bet. And kind of after that, it kind of depends on what the action, if there's a ton of action, maybe I'll reevaluate and maybe see if my flush is no good. But I'm still going to try and build a pot, because, anytime you flop, like, 3-card flush and you have two of the suit in your hand, you're almost always still going to have the best hand.
Okay, so the turn comes, you still, it's a blank, and you feel like you still have the best hand, but maybe deep in a tournament, and he's drawing by now, because you bet the flop, and you know that he wouldn't call unless he had, a big draw or something. So do you want to get most of your stack in here, or do you want to get that free card on the river just to make sure that your hand isn't cracked? Because in a tournament, obviously, once you've committed so much, it's like...
Yeah, no, I usually will just try and, if he's going to try and outdraw me and make a bad play, I'm just going to, in the long term, I'm going to be winning money, and I'm going to be winning chips, and some people like to take the conservative route and maybe see a safe river, but I'm just going to try and be jamming the pot there, try and get all the money in as possible when I know I have the best hand. And, if I get unlucky, I get unlucky.
Okay. Is there any value or any difference in value in taking safe cards in tournaments or in cash games? Is there any extra value in either?
Yeah, definitely. I would say more so in cash games, just because, like, you know, if someone not necessarily taking a free card, but if say you have a flush and you know someone has a set and they raise you on the turn, but you know they're gonna fold if you re-raise them, or they're just gonna call and they're gonna fold the river if they don't pair up. I think sometimes it's better to just call and make sure the river doesn't pair, and then get all the money in on the river when you got the best hand. Whereas in tournaments, the stacks are generally more shallow, and you'd rather just get all the chips in there when you have the best hand and you know that the guy's in bad shape.
Do you have any hands that come to mind that you've played where you were the one with the vulnerable hand, and there was like a particular line that you liked or how you played it? Can you think of any big hands in tournaments that you've had?
Yeah, like recently in a 5K at the Bellagio, one of the prelims, I had raised with 9-10 suited, and I flopped a flush versus a player that I thought was pretty tight, and I bet the flop and he called, and then I bet the turn, and he called again, and or no, sorry, I bet the turn and he raised, and at this point I knew he didn't have a flush because I felt like just the way he was playing, he had a set for sure, and so I just called, and this was in the first level, so we were like 300 big blinds deep, and then the river paired the board, and he went all in, and I folded, and he showed me a full house. So I guess that's sort of like what you were talking about.
All right, yeah, definitely, and you chose somewhat the safe route to just call there. Does that have to do with having such a strong read on the guy?
Yeah, it's just also I thought that since my flush, it was like all low cards on the board, and my flush wasn't very high, obviously. Mm-hmm. So I thought that there was a decent chance that even though this guy wasn't a great player, he was reasonably decent, and I thought that if I raised, he would just fold out all worse hands, and then just shove or call with all the hands that beat me. So I felt like just calling, and then if a safe non-pair card came on the river, calling him down or maybe putting him all in. And so that's kind of what my thought process was there.
Okay. What happens though when you're in a tournament and you commit a lot of your stack, and then that awful card, the worst card that could comes on the river? What do you do there? You're just gonna give up?
Yeah, it's sometimes I guess if you're a little tilted or you're not playing your best, sometimes I guess I'll make the hero call even though I know that I shouldn't be doing it. But when I'm playing good, you just kind of just have to move on and just let it go. It's definitely, poker's a frustrating game, but it's part of it. You just gotta let it go. If you get unlucky, you get unlucky, but just playing your hand the best for the long-term result is always going to be, the best way to do it.
All right, well, thank you so much, Isaac.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Christiana with Isaac Barron for Card Player TV.